Hey there, are you ready to be sequestered by a masked man who stalks the woods at the edge of town, but in a good way? Then you might be ready for this month's Mormon romance novel book review. Today we review The Masked Baron, a vaguely Regency-era novel based not at all vaguely on Disney's 1991 animated classic Beauty and the Beast. But first, let's take a little peek behind the production process of this book review. Whenever I read these novels, I follow a schedule for when I need to have the book read, when the audio needs to be finished, etc., and so it behooves me to write the script as I read the book. As I wrote my notes for The Masked Baron, I could see that they were pointing me toward the typical suspects for what makes an unimpressive Mormon romance novel. The main character is prone to paroxysms, the romance feels inorganic, and when the book isn't romancing, none of the characters seem to know what to do. The only different thing about this review would have been me talking a little about whether Deseret Books should be lowering itself to publishing retellings of Disney cartoons. On one hand, publishing something like this isn't great for the present Mormon struggle to make groundbreaking art, but on the other hand, it does bring us one step closer to getting a Regency romance that's based character for character off of Shrek, so pros and cons. Anyway, I was reading the book, piecing together a script, but about 2/3 of the way through, I noticed a problem. I began to recognize some of the dialogue. The characters were saying some of the same things over again, little corny one-liners that I remembered reading before. I did a book-wide search to see whether the author was really copy-pasting text on me, but the app claimed that nothing I was reading had been repeated, so either I knew what I was going to read before I read it, and I have some kind of revelatory authority over Mormon romance novels now, or there was a bug in the app and it was rearranging the pages on me. This put me in a difficult situation. Either I could finish the book, which meant going back and untangling which parts of my review were caused by technical issues and which were just conventional incompetency, maybe get a physical copy of the book to make sure I was getting the right story, or I could let the fact that the book was so bland that I did not notice when the pages had been rearranged be a review that speaks for itself. So yeah, I didn't finish it. Or perhaps I never started it. Or maybe I started and finished it and missed a large portion of the middle. I don't really care to find out. You know what's a good book? This is How You Lose the Time War by Amal El-Motar and Max Gladstone. This book isn't written by LDS authors, but I don't care, because it is a romance, it's clean enough for LDS audiences, and anyone listening to this review would think it's a great read. It never received any special critical acclaim, but after so many months of reading the romance novels that Deseret Book has to offer, it felt masterful. The elevator pitch for it is simple. Two time traveler warrior spies fall in love. I know, right? The two agents start out as enemies, each bursting at the seams with high-tech power, encyclopedic knowledge, and arrogance, but as they leave taunting letters to each other at the various times throughout history, they slowly, but willingly, reveal their weaknesses to each other. It was beautiful, because as that plot developed, the fantastical elements dealing with time travel and hyper-advanced cyborg dystopias gave way to something more true to life. That the way that you fall in love is by being vulnerable, by letting your guard down, by being as strong as you can and then giving up all that strength to be in someone else's arms. The Masked Baron portrays love as this infection you get that slurs your speech and increases your heart rate and makes you convulse uncontrollably, and no one is there to talk with you or help you, but eventually you get to wear a pretty white dress and then the symptoms subside. All of these novels portray love like that. For their characters, love is something that's injected into them, and any other life they had before the love is either unconvincing or non-existent. Maybe it's a cultural thing. Maybe these authors were all raised to believe there's nothing greater you can be than a wife and a mother, so they never really thought about what you do between major love events. Boy, that would be sad if that were true. Anyway, all that taken into account, The Masked Baron gets 4.7 stars, a great read for fans of Beauty and the Beast. I loved how handsome and mysterious the man was, and how the main character liked books, because that made her like me, because I'm reading a book. Oh, and Andolin? Love the name. I'm gonna name my next child that, but with more letters in it. And I love how Andolin and Ellis had no chemistry, because it reminded me of my own marriage. See you next month.